Still too cold for the food bank journey. Got a bad break for the weather going from February to March. Same thing, still too cold. It'll be the second week in March before the weather breaks again. Out these sub-zero temperatures. Only able to make two food banks. That's Tuesdays and Thursdays so far. So that's the way it looks like it's going to be running for a while. So Tuesday, food bank is, it's not that crowded, so a lot of people ain't hip to it yet. They still want people to put the word out on it. So I ain't put the word out on it yet with everybody. But I'm going to start putting the word out so they can keep it going. They come in handy with some good stuff. Like I said, it reminded me of that Tuesday food bank the church used to give. The church that moved out the neighborhood. They had to close the church because they didn't have enough for people attending the church to keep it open. So that's what it reminds me of. So that basically, this one took the place of that one. They're getting it from the same two places. Same place, cleaners. But they're not getting as large a quantity as the other one was, the church was. But still, you still can get something out the deal. So it's still worth the trip. And it's the one that's closest to me in the neighborhood now. So that's real convenient. The Thursday food bank, we had no high drama down last Thursday, none whatsoever. Everything was nice and smooth because the head count was down. And the truck came with a whole lot of meat. Had cases of meat there. Had more meat than they had anything else. With the sweets and the produce, they had a lot of produce too. And had some water, not that many canned goods. But there was no high drama because the head count was down. So a lot of people that came the week before, they didn't show up this week. I was surprised. There had a lot of people that was new. And I guess that ain't that thing. There's one lady, she was trying to pick through the meat last week, get the choice meat. And, you got about 20 or 30 pieces on the table. You got to go and make your choice. You can't go through the 20 and turn them over and check them all out. They're giving you 3 or 4 pieces of meat, so you're getting a large quantity. I go and reach in there and get me 3 or 4 right quick. And then I'm gone. There's one lady, she was hesitating up front of me, trying to pick and choose which one was going to be the best choice for her, which I halfway understand that, but, when you're dealing with people that volunteer in their service, they can't let you slow down the line because it makes it longer for other people to get a chance to get in and get out. Especially when you're being choicy at the food bank. Can't be that choicy, you know what I'm saying? You want to be a little choicy over your meat. But all of it's old meat. So ain't nothing fresh. So, last piece of meat I got from the food bank was fresh enough for me to eat. But every once in a while you gonna get a bad piece of meat. And the oranges, the strawberries had mold on it, so that one's to be thrown out. But the other ones I got didn't have mold on it, but it came up missing. So I had me a thief inside the house, inside the building, because I laid my box down. This is the week where we didn't have a whole lot of people. The week before we had a whole lot of people, and that's when they had one person holding up the line, picking through the meat. But the following week we didn't have a whole lot of people. So we had more choices. So I picked up some strawberries and some oranges and stuff and bananas. You gotta hurry up and eat that. You don't eat that in 2 or 3 days. Especially bananas, they already broke down. You ain't got nothing but something for the compost or for the trash. Me, I try to put it in the compost. But if I can, I put it in the trash. But I had picked out some strawberries. So I took my box outside. To my surprise, they gave me 3 pieces of meat and a ham. For my 4th piece that had a large quantity of stuff, they had hams this time. This wasn't a high-end ham like I had got from the other one that was already pre-sliced. This is the lower end of the ham. But I think the shank end. So, but it's still, eatable. And it's good for greens and beans. And So that threw me off. I had my boxes and I had my trailer with me, and I got the bread for the birds and the dogs. But that threw me off because I had to put my boxes on the outside of the door and come back and get the bread for the birds. So they was rotating us out so they can hustle their food on. I would thought nobody having no high drama about it. They were taking a lot of meat themselves, the volunteers. So sometimes they sometimes in their best interest to keep a low profile so nobody have no high drama. Even though the lady that particular particular day, she had came out and explained to us that she needed a little help from us because we was a small group at that time. Last week we was a small group. She said the ones that come on a regular basis, you should try to tell the people how the program is run. With the houses, the shelter houses for the veterans and the community, the non-veterans. Those two shelter houses go first. Those two houses go first, and then the volunteers go second because that's their reward for volunteering, and then the community go third. But I started to mention that to the lady that was in charge of the houses, the veteran house, as well as the program. I started to mention to her that, I have done that. And that fell on deaf ears. People didn't want to hear it from me, because they know I'm there with them as part of the community. And I've seen another lady do it with the three amigos, senoritas, that's what I should call them, the three older ladies, the seniors, super seniors. I've seen one of them do it, mention it to someone about how they shut down the program to prove their point that they didn't have to give out to anyone. But she had came out to the group and mentioned to us to help out and stop getting that and get to that agitator first. The agitator is the one that always come out there complaining. And once a person starts complaining, then you get that domino effect, which I have seen that. One person complaining, then another person complaining, then another person complaining. But I have mentioned that already to people that how it works. And that we, as a community, we get the leftovers. But, you also, you mentioned to a person like, and you're not a church member, it falls on deaf ears. They don't want to hear it coming from you. They rather hear it from coming from a church person than you. So that's how that went down. So she was mentioning that and letting us know that we was welcome to do that, but they get tired of hearing all the complaints, knowing that they don't have to give us nothing. They can take it all for themselves, and they can select who they want to give it to, as long as they take care of the houses first. And they're the top priority there. And that's what they started that program to take care of the houses first, and the community was something they just added on to it. Because by them being a church organization, the pastor feel that it was a good deal to open it up to the community. So if it's a church, you got to run it past the pastor. And the pastor got the final say on that. So he down with opening it up to the community, then just having them among the church groups only with the houses. But it can't go down like that. They have done that to prove their point to people. So I started mentioning that to her that we've been trying to do that. But she did mention the fact they said at the end she mentioned the fact that if they have any questions, they're directed to one of us church members, and we co-sign it. Let them know that you're not just saying that just to be saying it. It has some merit behind it, and that it could go down like that. So they come about shutting down the program. If they got to be harassed about how they run their program. So it's funny how people come to another person's program and try to tell them how it's done, because everything they think is uniform. And while one program do it, it's the same way another program do it. But it don't work that way. Everybody got their own rules and their own. Some people have to go by different ways of doing it as far as zip code. But as far as issuing it out, it's up to the individual organization how they distribute it and who they distribute it to. So, if you show up and you got a good positive attitude, they want to be bothered with you, but they can also assist you and ask you not to come back, because they're not obligated to serve you. They're not open to the public like that. They're open to the public as far as coming in and being part of it, because they don't ask for no zip code. So one lady come all the way from the west side to the east side just to be just to participate in this food bank. And I know I used to live on the west side. She's coming from Pembroke. That's way on the west side. So she traveled a long way just to be on the east side picking up food. And a couple of food banks on the east side, 2 or 3 food banks I see there on the east side. So she must know somebody on the east side to travel that far just for some food. So I know they got food banks citywide. So she comfortable with coming on the east side, and I've seen at least 3 food banks on the east side over the years. So that was happening Thursday food bank. There was no high drama this Thursday. Only thing I got, like I said, somebody got me for my strawberries. And I left my box outside the door unattended. And I come back, I said, what happened to my strawberries? But if they ain't give me, it might have fallen out from my trailer, but I think it got me. But if the person needed it was that bad, I ain't worried about it. It was just some strawberries. But them strawberries, you got to eat them in 1 or 2 days because they're about to get ready to get that mold on them. And they will get mold on it in a minute. So you got to hurry up and eat them. And I was going to eat them that day once that was good. But it didn't go down when it meant to be. I left that behind, and I left another box of something else behind that they gave me, some bars, some chocolate bars. So I kind of messed up a little bit. I should have took it on out to the trailer and then come on back and got the bread like that. But in the future, that's what I'll do. I'll take it on out to the trailer and I'll come back for the bread. But they're about ready to shut it down. And they wanted us out there because it's just a few of us. And then they was going to shut the door and do their thing. Get their food on out without us having to see how much they were taking, which ain't none of our business because they take as much as they want. So that was what happening this month going from February to March. Still got the cold weather. And it got me down to 2 food banks. So, but you're blessed to have anything because it saved me some money, that's for sure. I didn't have to go to the grocery store on weekends and pick up no meat or side dishes. So that was a good thing. So we'll see what happens. We're coming up on this Thursday food bank. Looking for the weather to break next week. And that's when everything jump off. It'll be the second week of March. So everybody will be on the second week rotation with everything. That's when I have the most run, the second and the fourth week. The ones I have the most food banks to go to. So hopefully I can make all the stops to the food bank this month coming up. Make all my stops. Check them all out and see what I come up with. So until then, we got nothing. Oh yeah, the bicycle. Yeah, I put that motor on the bicycle, and I thought myself making a small adjustment to it, the one that's chain driven by the chain, and it seems like it's gonna be a pain in the butt. I'm gonna try one more adjustment to it, but it seems like everything got to be perfectly right for that to work. I don't like them bolts in there. The bolts that hold the motor to the mount or to the plate. That's what it is, a plate that you mount to the frame. They're just small. The size of the bolts are real small. To me, they should have been bigger with the bolts. They got some small bolts. But 3 bolts that hold the motor to that plate. And I think that's a flaw in that part. And to me, when you want to mow the motor down, it got movement and taking torque. And when you take off, you give it some torque, and it's going to jerk with that torque. So that seemed to me that's one of my problem areas. That I got everything running. I rigged up the other part up, took the ball bearings out, so that part should work without me having to shorten the chain. So this is my experiment for the winter. So I ain't got one going, and I think I'm going to go to hardware to get the little longer bolts so I can drive it all, so I can screw it all the way in. I had it screwed less than way in, and they popped out. So they ain't gonna work. But it's far enough out for the motor mount that that part that was touching the spokes don't touch it anymore. So I had got that figured out and loosened up the chain a little bit. But I gotta get them threads all the way in. I gotta be able to thread it all the way down. So I'm gonna get a little longer bolt so you can extend it out, the motor out a little bit from that mount or the plate, extend it out so that it will fit. It won't touch the spokes. So that's how I'm working on it. Anyway, I guess you have to see to see what I'm talking about more, so I'm hearing about it. But that's what stumped me so far. So I got everything working on that bike but that one part. So we're going to see how it works out. I'm going to have that hooked up after this weekend. So I'm anxious to get that going and working on the second one on the right-hand side. So I hope to have both of them going this weekend. It'll be good enough we can ride around a little bit with them on a Saturday. So we'll see what happens. So until then, we'll holler back at you later.